Hello, my name is Troy Barron from Channel Vision Technology, and today we will take a brief look at the Channel Vision 3G series DVRs and its menu. First, we'll begin with logging into our DVR. Once we've logged into our DVR, we'll be able to look at the menu by right-clicking your mouse. Here is a shortcut menu that grants you quick access to certain features, including enable and disable recording features, go directly to your playback, as well as set up your display features, change your view to a full screen or a quad display. Or you can use the gear drop down, which will take you to your main menu, search setup, or you can back up your information here, or access PTZ controls. For our purposes, we're going to log into the main menu. Once you take to your main menu, you will have a few different options that you see here, a few different icons offering you specific access to specific features, including your recording setup, event setup, schedule setup, camera setup, account setup, networking setup, PTZ and RS-485 installation, as well as the system setup itself, utilities, and diagnostics. We'll begin by taking a look at record setup. In this screen here, you will be able to select your individual channels and the on-screen display position that you'll see them at with resolution. Here, you can adjust the channels individually, or take down to quality and frame rate setup. Here, you'll be able to adjust the individual resolution and frame rate and camera quality on a per channel basis. Once complete, simply click OK or cancel, and it will take you back to your main screen. The second screen we're going to look at is event setup. In the event setup screen, we'll have options for both motion and sensor setup if you're using an alarm trigger. Motion setup will grant you access to the specific cameras and specific channels that we have on our system. For example, channel 2 is the street, etc., etc. Here, we'll be able to take a look at this specific channel by clicking this box, alarm, indicating that an alarm pop-up for motion will be recorded as an event. And then here, we'll be able to check this box and adjust the sensitivity of our camera on a scale of 0 all the way to 10. To set up a specific area, for example, in this to block out motion of the street, simply click Motion Area Setup, and then we can use our mouse and drag this area in coverage to remove this specific area or have this area specifically for when motion is detected. Now, to continue, I can either use a mask selection and mask all of these units specifically, like this here, or I can do it on an individual basis. Now, as a note to self, it is easier to set up your DVR using a mouse, but for all intents and purposes, that's essentially how you're going to set up motion. We're going to save and discard this, which just means we're going to exit this screen. And once we've done this, we've essentially set up motion on each channel. You can also do a sensor setup, which is where you can arrange sensitivity of low and high on the polarity using the alarm triggers that are on the back of the DVR G series units. Simply connect your alarm relay, turn it on, and you're good to go. Our schedule setup is another location where we can set up options for viewing. Here we can have it just sensor, the alarm that we just set up, just motion, the alarm that we set up, or normal, which would imply constant recording. In this section here, we'll be able to have specific recordings throughout this time slots available here. As you can see here, we have it scheduled from 7 to 4 on these specific days. Or we can give it a day off and have it optional to utilize the camera recording and the internal calendar and block out specific days that we do not want recorded in the event that we wanted to give our DVR a day off. If you take a look at your camera setup, this will grant you access to a few different things. Here, you'll be able to mask the camera so certain people can't view it, adjust the sharpness, brightness, and contrast of all of your individual channels. This is also the section where you can name your channel, in this example, channel 1, and adjust the volume in the event that you have a microphone hooked up to this specific channel. Your user section is where you have your account set up. This is where you will be able to define permissions for other users to access the DVR and specific features within the DVR. Simply click your users, assign their name and password, and then grant them permissions. This will grant them access to certain features such as playback, backup, network controls, the utility feature, pan-tilt zooms, and setups. You can also grant them certain access to certain cameras. Network setup is where you'll probably spend most of your time initially, setting up the DVR, enabling you to get your network online for video recording and viewing from remote access. Here, you'll have to plug in on the network setup. You'll be able to see the different settings we have, including our IP address, the subnet mask of our internal network, as well as our gateway and DNS server, all of our LAN or internal network. Under your HTTP setup, you will be able to schedule the port that you have designated open on your router, which would grant access to the outside network. Note, if you have not forwarded a port on your router, you cannot view your cameras from outside the network. Here you will all be able to adjust the frame rate that can be viewed on that stream as well. Your DNS setup is where you have to plug in the host information for your DVR hosting service. This can be done simply by calling ChannelVision directly, and we can set this portion up for you using ChannelVision's dynamic DNS hosting service. In the event you want to get an email notification, you can schedule that by plugging your information in here, including your name and password of your account, as well as what type of information you would want sent to you based on the events that occur. Your PTZ setup is where you're going to set up navigation for your pan-tilt zoom camera's protocols, including your protocol of a Pelco D or Pelco P standard, the specific ID number of your camera, and the baud rate using the RS-45 serial connections. System setup will grant you access to the internal functions of the DVR, including your display time of your DVR, indicating time specifically. Set up your time day stamp. This is where you will be able to change the date and time internally of the DVR, noted for recording purposes as well. Your device setup, you can adjust your mouse speed, and if you're hearing a lot of that buzzer when you're navigating through your menu screen and you'd like to turn that off, that's under your device setup portion, and you can disable that buzzer and or relay for any of those specific events. You can also integrate a spot monitor and select a specific monitor or channel, that you would design to designate to your spot monitor. The utility portion of the DVR will grant access to the factory settings. Here you'll have your hard drive initialization, essentially if you're installing a new hard drive. Same for your USB. System recovery will be able to pull up the existing hard drive information, reset your events so that you can remove all the events that you have scheduled, export directly to a USB, or if you're updating your firmware, download your setup from a USB. Anytime you are looking to do an upgrade, it is recommended that you first download it to a USB port and then utilize the flash drive to update the DVR. Last but not least is your diagnostic settings. This will give you a brief look inside your computer, your DVR, where you'll be able to view your specific IP address that's been assigned to the DVR, as well as the MAC address of the unit, including your hard drive status, current usage, and ensuring that it's been formatted, as well as your initial hard drive size. In a nutshell, that's a brief look at the Channel Vision DVR's menu interface for the Channel Vision G-Series DVRs. If you have any additional questions on the basics, you can always look at the instruction manual and get further detail on each of the specific applications available on channelvision.com. For any additional support, feel free to give us a call at Channel Vision at 1-800-840-0288, extension 1862, or visit channelvision.com for assistance.